Hi, everybody. Welcome to a Well Done Professional podcast. Well, I think a lot of you know we do have a manufacturing component to our business here at ERG, and we're very passionate about manufacturing, especially here in Northeast Wisconsin. And I have one of my favorite manufacturing leaders, Rick Recktenwald. Rick is the president at Walker Forge in Clintonville, Wisconsin. So welcome. Hi. So anyway, obviously there's a lot of people who know what Walker Forge is, but not everybody who's going to watch our podcast is going to know what Walker Forge is. So let's start with just tell them a little bit about your business.
Okay. It's a heavy industrial manufacturing environment that comprises about 330 individuals across 3 shifts, across 7 days a week. And we take hot metal, and that's metal bars heated up to about 2,300 degrees Fahrenheit, and push it and hit it and smash it into a shape that ultimately becomes a part for things that you're all familiar with. Tractors, boat motors, cars, excavating equipment, over-the-road tractors, diesel engines, many things. And then we also machine parts as well as heat treat parts at another company that's on the same site, Precision Thermal Processing.
So you're located in a small town. Clintonville's how many people?
Well, they adjust it every week with the Post-Crescent obituary, so it's somewhere around 4,500 is my guess.
And you have 350 of those folks working for your facility. So is it hard to find great talent?
Well, let's do the pyramid. It's hard to find people that are talented and are successful. So people in general are becoming more and more difficult to find. As you would expect, Walker Forge isn't even the largest manufacturing facility in Clintonville. So when you take all the attached small towns that are around Clintonville, the Embarrasses, the Marions, the Carolines, the Bear Creeks, there could be upwards of 2,000 manufacturing people just in that particular area.
Wow.
So.
And that's the thing I love about Northeast Wisconsin. Obviously, we have great workers who work hard and seem pretty loyal. I think your retention is significant. But you do an awful lot for your employees as well to be able to maintain and retain them.
Clearly, if you work in manufacturing and and it hasn't dawned on you yet that you have to upgrade how and why you are at work, you're going to be in trouble because the options are almost infinite. If you want a job, there is a job for you without walking or driving very far these days up there.
Mm-hmm. So in 2012, Walker Forge was named Manufacturer of the Year, Wisconsin Manufacturer of the Year. And I know that there's a lot of reasons, including your leadership, by the way, I know that for a fact, as to why you folks won that award. But one of the things, and we served together on Fox Valley Tech Board of Trustees for several years, and I know that you were intimately involved in the high schools, technical as well as universities, on working with young men and women on bringing them into the trades within manufacturing. So talk to us a little bit about that.
Well, I was in high school in the middle 70s, and there was probably an overtone that going into a plant or into manufacturing was a failed idea going forward. We still had technical education. They weren't called that back then. They were called shop classes. There weren't obviously computers and stuff, but people were required to take metal shop, wood shop, stuff like that. In the ensuing years, after I got out of high school, I think all of that sort of fell by the wayside, and technical education sort of took a back seat to anything university, basically. And I think what got lost in the weeds was how terrific skilled manufacturing positions are for people that are inclined to be able to fix stuff, make stuff, build stuff, and work with their hands. I think it probably rolled up into a simple analysis that I did for a counselor at the Clintonville High School, and that is that if you are a kid, 18 years old, and you are capable and interested in working with your hands and following a skilled trades path, that a person that graduated from university and got normal salary progression each year going forward, that it would take them almost an extra 15 years to catch up with the first 5 years that you were working while you were going to apprenticeship school.
Right.
And I don't know why, I don't know who, I don't know when, but all of that fell off the table. And that's why the Northeast Wisconsin Manufacturing Alliance has also become prevalent and important in the area. And we were single focused, and that is just to improve the general perception, and then ultimately the specific perception, but the general perception of manufacturing as a career path.
Right. We recently I saw a posting, and I actually shared it on LinkedIn, and it was of a high school that had draft day. So instead of recognizing kids who were going off to university, they recognized kids that took jobs with UPS, or they made a big deal of kids who were going into the trades. So that was, I posted that about a week ago. So far it's had 235,000 views and over 6,000 likes. So there seems to be a large number of people who agree, but tell me what you think the challenges are. So for me, when I think about why is it, and we're an executive search, so obviously a lot of times a degree is required, but when I think about why that changed, it doesn't seem like, sometimes it's the guidance counselor, it doesn't seem to me like it's the teachers. When I really unpeel the onion here and go, where is the problem, it seems to be the parents, because parents just don't look at the trades. You know, they were in the trades, they want their kids to do better than they did, so they push them into a degree whether they're right for college or not. What do you think?
Well, it's incredibly harsh because that's exactly what I did. So you're making it my fault.
It is your fault.
All four of my children aren't really in manufacturing, but you know what?
Well, you have girls too.
They were following their interest. I like to think that the parents are part of the solution, not part of the problem. I like to think that counselors are part of the solution and not part of the problem. The administration of high schools and even middle school education are part of the solution. But most importantly, because I speak from this point, the manufacturers are most of the solution. We need to create better, more current, digitally enhanced perspectives of what we do, because many people's recollection, not perception, recollection of what manufacturing was like decades ago is probably out of date.
No doubt. I mean, I've been in facilities that are beautiful and very clean. I think, like, much to what you're talking about, the perception is manufacturing's dirty and it's not modern, and that really doesn't exist anymore. To be competitive and relevant, they have to be automated and have good equipment and all of that. So,
and we have all that. We have.
You do.
We probably have 30 robots that run every day, and we take care of them and program them and integrate them all ourselves. And all those people are byproducts of technical or actually Foxbury Technical College education, right. Either industrial electrician and or automated manufacturing systems and electromechanical and 3D modeling and It's not well understood what it takes to put together a manufacturing production system today, and it's a lot more technical than it used to be. I'm not saying that there aren't people that would walk into Walker Forge and possibly be taken aback by the size and the processes that are in front of you. But for the most part, if you can get over the initial perspective, we've had a great many people that have worked there for 20, 30 years. In fact, as you note in your notes, I've actually never done anything else. It has been my 39th year of working in forging since in August of this year.
Yeah, and you seem to have done all right. And that's the thing is if people love manufacturing, it can be a wonderful career.
I think the hardest thing that I've noticed in my children and the many students and potential employees that I talk to lately is there is this common perspective that everybody thinks they need to get the best job of their life to start. I didn't know what forging was in 1983. I didn't know why you did it. I just knew that they did it at the Chevrolet Motor Division, and if it was good enough for Chevrolet, it was good enough for me, and that's where I went.
Well, and I've tried to coach my daughter on this too. I said, unless you go for something very specific, like you're going to be a brain surgeon, a physician, a lawyer, your job finds you, you don't find it. You start somewhere and you learn and you grow and you move throughout your career, and you don't have to know in high school what you want to be. You don't have to know coming out of college what you're going to be for the rest of your life. You just have to start. And eventually the trail you do great work, you show up on time, and you put your heart and soul into it, and it just sort of evolves.
Yeah, I think that there's, most businesses have adopted a relatively progressive tone now where employees are our most important asset. It's probably actually been like that forever. They just didn't know how to treat them like that. But when I look at some of the younger people that leave Walker Forge and have gone on to a different place of employment and then come back to Walker Forge, what they really come back with is, I had no idea how important the people I work with are to me enjoying my job. And I suppose you get that in small communities and stuff like that, that kind of mentality. But
I would tell you that that's the number one hardest thing when we have someone that we place and then they have to resign. It isn't, they're very excited about the new job. It's leaving the people behind that makes them sad.
Yeah, it's a thing. So really, I mean, you're the antithesis of manufacturing. You're trying to steal all our good people.
Not yours.
But what I would say is that if a manufacturer's people are stealable, that you need to double down your efforts to figure out how to make their workplace, their job, their environment someplace they don't want to leave.
Right. And there's no doubt, we consistently see there's companies we could never take anyone from because the workplace is so amazing. And then there's places that it doesn't matter really who we call, they're interested. So let's talk a little bit about the Alliance, because you brought that up. So what are some of the things that the Manufacturing Alliance is doing? I know you've been involved with the Alliance for a long time. Are you still on the board?
I am.
So what are some of the things from a board perspective you guys are working on?
Well, we started clearly just trying to engage the educational districts that make up Northeast Wisconsin. There's quite a number of school districts. So from all the way up from Jim's place up short of Menominee, or actually all the way up to Menominee now, all the way down to Sheboygan, all the way over to Wapaka. It's quite a range, and each school has a different need, a different capability, and more importantly, a different enthusiasm for supporting manufacturing. So our goal is to try and increase the enthusiasm of each school district, and then over 15 years, it's a 15-year anniversary this year, we've invented other things to work on, and those are, we've found some great support from Microsoft, and we've put together an Industry 2.0 and data analytics type work, working with middle school and second and high school education, working on communication, how to get the word out, and then the interesting things that Ann has really thought of on her own and put together, and I don't really know how she does it, but draft day you mentioned, we have a fairly significant draft day that's actually at Lambeau Field, and Mark Murphy actually announces the number one intern and where they're going to go.
Great.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
And then Manufacturing Matters is it's phenomenal. We had obviously not last year, but the last in person attendance, we had 500 high school kids come to the KI Center in Green Bay and tour around booths and see what all the different manufacturers actually do in Northeast Wisconsin, and it is quite a range of things.
Well, I've always said the favorite part of what I do is I get to go out and I get to meet the owners and leaders in manufacturing, and the amount of amazing things that's created right here in Northeast Wisconsin, I still am very much in awe of that.
Yep. As we were talking earlier, I mean, I know that the manufacturing jobs in Northeast Wisconsin that are directly assigned to manufacturing are in the high 20%. But if you take all the ancillary jobs, you're looking at a third to maybe even up to 40% of the jobs are in some way, shape, or form supported by a nucleus of manufacturing. And that is a heck of a number.
Yeah, it sure is.
And
so let's talk a little bit about leadership, because you have always, and you know this, I admire so much your style, your retention, just kind of everything about you as a leader. So when you think about your successes through 39 years, what are some of the things that you're most proud of?
My children.
Well, that's a fair one.
Yeah. You can go on to the next one.
All right, you're not going to tell me anything at work?
The hardest thing is that when you talk to an individual, it makes it sound like it's an individual success, and almost every success that I have is usually not an individual success.
Team success.
Well, it's usually and it's not really even an idea, because almost 9 out of 10 ideas are bad. It's only with help from other people and other perspectives does a bad idea become a great idea.
Right. So you talked about your children. You have 4 daughters.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously, you had a household of 5 women. They're all growing up, and you have a pretty magnanimous, you have a big
career,
big job. How did you balance all of that?
I stayed at work 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
Because you had 5 children, 5 girls.
As any reasonable person would. No, I don't know. It's. I don't think there's much difference between my job and being at home. You are supporting a group effort for success.
Yeah, no doubt.
So
get out of jail card. What's one do-over when you look at your career?
Sharon gave me all this stuff beforehand, so I should have an awesome answer prepared. I don't.
You don't.
I'm going to tell you honestly that if I was offered a do-over of anything, I would take none of it, because I'm deathly afraid that if I do over one thing, I wouldn't end up where
Right.
I am right now with all the things that have worked. And for the most part, like I was alluding to earlier we mostly have horrible ideas that turn into good ideas because people help them grow into ideas. Almost every do-over that a person would take is probably considered a mistake.
Right.
And sometimes mistakes are the most worthwhile learning experiences that you can actually have. And they change your perspective on the ideas of the future. So I would never take a do-over.
Yeah, there's no doubt you learn way more from failures than you ever do from successes.
I don't believe in do-overs.
Yeah. Well, good, because I'm not giving you one. All right, so young listeners, we have quite a few young listeners that listen to this to learn about leadership, and what kind of advice would you give them for someone who is looking at a career in manufacturing? They're just either getting out of high school or technical college or university, and they want to get into manufacturing. What advice would you give them?
Well, every single first article advice I'd give to high school kids is TikTok. It's where you got to be. That is the future.
TikTok.
Do
you watch TikTok?
I don't, but Walker Forge has a TikTok page now, so I'm relatively excited about that. So.
Oh my goodness! I can't wait to watch that.
Oh, yeah. So,
I hope you're on it.
No. It's hard. I think today's youth has spent so much time focusing on overachieving in academics, athletics, life, whatever it is,
Right.
that they really haven't had those things that I wish they had for coming to work with us. And that is, they've never spent a lot of time with people they don't know, figuring out how to be interesting, how to be a listener, how to participate. It really does make your work experience more significant.
And your life too.
And I think that some of that is missing. We hire a great many 18-year-olds when they get out of school, and it is not uncommon for them, and I can't even imagine this, but to not have actually had a job yet. That they helped on the farm or they helped their work on cars and stuff like that, but a W-2 is a thing that is not quite touchable.
I'm very aware of that. My nephew, I had to help him get a checkbook and fill out his forms so he could.
So you taught them. See now that.
But he's a farmer.
But the craziest thing is, you teach somebody about a checkbook. Half the kids today don't use checkbooks.
Right.
It's not a thing anymore.
Right. Not anymore.
It's not a thing. So it's hard to keep up, but I do think it's important to try, because everybody can see someone that's trying. It doesn't actually matter what job you have or how long you've been there.
That's exactly right.
There's always something to learn and always a reason to try.
Yeah. I tell all the young kids, raise your hand, say, I'll try it. Even if you don't know exactly how to do it, I'll give it a try.
Yeah.
So, not that we want you to give away any trade secrets, but when you look at Northeast Wisconsin manufacturing, what do you see in the next 3 to 5 years?
I see a whole bunch of trouble.
Do you?
I don't think there's enough people. I
I
really
would
don't.
agree with that.
I really don't. I certainly, if you scan, the great state of Wisconsin's data collection sites, you can see that Northeast Wisconsin probably has a population reduction
Definitely.
every week, every year, every 10 years. I think you can also see that as healthcare becomes more awesome, whether anybody believes it or not, people live longer. And many of the jobs in manufacturing aren't tailored for the 65 to 80-year-old set. They're a little bit more aggressive. So that is a fleeting portion of the workforce. So back when I started at General Motors, we were driven to automate to eliminate people's jobs. We are driven in the same manner today, but it's not to eliminate people's jobs. It's to eliminate ghosted jobs. When someone leaves, there may not be a person that can come in and take it. So we have to look at any and all the processes that we've had for years, for months, for days, and say, can we do something different to make it less intense from a human on-the-job aspect? It does make the jobs that remain quite a bit more analytical, quite a bit more technical, and quite a bit higher level education. And I do not mean baccalaureate or master's. I mean on-the-job experience with supplemental technical training that's specific to that area.
Which you do a great job.
That's
continuing education.
We do a bunch of that. There is no doubt. And I don't think a business, especially a manufacturing business, I actually don't think you can survive if you haven't drank from that chalice.
Right, right, no doubt. So one of the favorite pieces of advice that you have given me came from the movie Nemo.
It's on my desk.
You want to tell them what it
I
is?
show it to everybody. And it's a picture of Dory, and it just says, just keep swimming.
So I have that on my desk as well, and I think of Rick a lot because there's a lot of times where it feels a little overwhelming, and I look at that and I remember just keep swimming.
I don't know if everybody, obviously everybody hasn't seen the movie, but the interesting part when Dory says just keep swimming, she's not talking to one person, she's talking to an entire catch in a net. And all those fish are told to keep swimming in the direction that they're going, and they break the mast off the fish and they go free, and they probably get eaten next week or something because nobody's there to tell them what to do. But really what that demonstrates to me, and that's why I've always used it, is you can almost accomplish anything if you can get everybody pulling in the same direction.
Well, I don't know how we could end it any better than that.
No.
So I just want to say thank you so much. As you know, you're one of my favorite people in the world.
It's a truly an honor to be in that spot.
See, thanks, Rick. As you can tell, we're also good friends. Take care, everybody. Make it a great day.